the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
Preference, are you rooting for one particular quarterback to win this job? Because it has, like, the most interesting thing to me, Cody, is that every of the three, whoever wins the job or even takes hold of the job this year has huge ramifications on Tennessee football going forward, because everything is out of whack. Like, if you had Nico, like, this would have been it most likely, no matter what, for Nico. And then you have the clean three-man competition between Jake, George, and Faison next year. And this year, it's not that simple anymore, because Nico's gone, and two of the guys who were not going to technically be in this competition until next spring now have an opportunity to jump the line a little bit and then cause a big ripple in terms of where Tennessee goes. So my gut is, if we gave True Serum to Heupel, he would say that, like, he hopes Joey Aguilar is just good and handles this job all season long so he doesn't have to do this. But it's not that clean. We have no idea. This is uncharted waters in terms of timing, timeline, getting up to speed and everything else. Like, this is later than Joe Milton in 2021. Like, we've never seen a quarterback come in this late and lead the Heupel offense. So with all that being said, what do you make of the quarterback one battle and where you hope it goes?
Well, a couple of weeks ago when Heupel made the comment, about basically it's the Joey Aguilar situation.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted people. He did a radio hit or something, and they called it the Nico situation, and he said it's time to start referring to it as the Joey Aguilar situation. That pretty much was an indicator to me that that's what he's thinking, or at least that's what it seems like. Is that that's his QB1. At least that's what I took away from it.
Yeah.
Watching Joey Aguilar on tape, I mean, granted, we're watching ESPN highlights. We're not watching the detailed tape as a coach would or something like, and we don't necessarily know what we're looking for as a coach does. But all you got to do is just look at the fact that over the last 2 years, he threw, 24 interceptions, 26 interceptions, something like that. And not just the interceptions, but the fumbles too, the just general recklessness with the ball. I think that's concerning when you watch Joey Aguilar. Now, he's got some positive things. I like the fact that he's willing to take risks, kind of the flip side of that coin. Like, he'll throw some bombs up. I mean, and I saw him connect on a couple. He had a nice one against South Alabama. You go back to that North Carolina game 2 years ago. He was awesome in that game. So he's definitely got some bright spots. There's some talent there. He's got some tools. It's just that the thing that I'm most concerned about with him is turning the ball over. And if, is that an instincts thing? Is that something that can be coached or can be changed about him? We'll see. When it comes to the other two quarterbacks, I think for the long term, I'm team King George. I mean, I love McIntyre for the long haul, but he's raw. He's young. He's got to get into the college program, into the system and all that. So I think the future's bright. I think McIntyre's going to end up being really good. Merck is Merck, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know as much about – I think Aguilar is going to be the guy going forward. Merklinger will be there backing him up, So I think McIntyre is too young at this point. But it could be ultimately that you go into this season and the fan base kind of feels like a dark cloud is looming over the season as you go into it. But I think that with that, maybe going in with lower expectations, we could be pleasantly surprised, because I think if we get Aguilar without the turnovers, we might end up having a decent quarterback. We'll just have to see.
And I think what would happen here is it would be kind of to Milton in 23. Remember, like, Milton had the turnover problem, and it was like, oh, over the middle is just not going to happen here with Milton. And we're just not doing that anymore. We're going side to side or deep bombs down the sideline where it's just going to be really hard to pick off any passes. So if Aguilar's a turnover machine, like, Heupel has shown, he'll just put the training wheels on, and it's like, we're not doing this. Like, we're not doing, like, he is not going to have the gunslinger type guy back there. Like, that's not his preference. Like, if you turn the ball over, I mean, Seth Luttrell was the offensive coordinator last year at Oklahoma. The Jackson Arnold game against Tennessee in Norman, that was it. Like, Jackson Arnold got benched because he kept turning the ball over, and that was the OC, was Seth Luttrell. So I have a hard time believing that Tennessee, even with their quarterback situation being what it is, if Aguilar is a turnover machine, that they just are like, we live with it. It's just that's the kind of year we're going to have. I don't think that's going to happen. I just think the offense will go 12 personnel and they're going to run it down your throat, similar to what they did the last 2 years. Like, I just think they'll go into a shell, and Heupel won't like it. Like, that's not what he wants to do. But if that's what he has to do to win football games, that's what he wants to do more than anything. Like, he's won 30 games in the last 3 years, and 2 of those last 3 years were below average quarterback play.
Yeah, well, it depends on, what are we most looking forward to as a Tennessee fan. Am I wanting the excitement back in the offense, or do I just want to win games? Because you look at last year, I mean, you made the college football playoff essentially running that same offense.
Yeah.
People were disappointed last year because it wasn't very exciting. You kind of relied on your defense and your running game. But if we continue to do that like we have the last 2 seasons, then if you're successful with it, if you find a way to win 9 games this year, I think everyone will be pleased, more so than they were the last couple of years. And at that point, it'll just be reality setting in of just, I guess this is what offense is going to be now until Tennessee has an elite quarterback again. And so it might not be all that different from Nico. Although you mentioned the throwing over the middle thing, I do think he brought you more in that regard than Milton or than Aguilar is going to bring you. So.
Well, he also ran more. Like, the most annoying thing about the Joe Milton experience is that he had the same measurables as Cam Newton and did not want to put his head down and did not want to run the football the same way Hendon did, the same way even Nico did down the stretch. Like, that was part of what flipped for Nico, was like, he wasn't afraid of contact. Like, Nico was a warrior. Like, Nico put his, I mean, he's cracking helmets in the CFP game. Like, he was not afraid to put his head down and run. Like, and that just has to be, I think, a part of this offense, is what you found, is that, like, it can get ugly if the quarterback is not comfortable running and using his legs. And I just don't think that's naturally Joe Milton's thing. And I think that's just got to be part of whoever's the quarterback one under Heupel. Aguilar's got to run if he's going to maintain his starting job. And I mean, it's easy to forget, like when you say, like, I think fans will take the wins over another bad offense, or we shouldn't say bad offense, bad passing offense, because the running game has been great all 4 years. It's just the passing offense has been bad the last 2 years. 94th in conference play a year ago. I look at it. I think it's what's so fascinating about this now, to put a bow on the quarterback one part of it, Cody, is that if it's Jake, you could still sell me that Faison will come through and he might sit for a year or 2 because Jake's a redshirt sophomore. Maybe he waits it out because he's like, hey, Jake's not. We'll see if he can maintain a stranglehold on the job for multiple years. If they go to George or George wins this one as a true freshman, like, that's like a doomsday situation potentially for the quarterback room going into next year, because, I mean, in terms of just the amount of talent and the turnover that you might be looking at, because, like, Jake's not sticking around if George takes hold of this job down the stretch and they go to George. And then if you're Faison, you're like, well, if George takes this as a true freshman, he's a 3-4 year guy. Like, I'm not waiting behind that long. So George is kind of like a chaos situation for Tennessee, because it's like, that's okay. We're okay with that if George wins it outright against Faison and Jake in the spring into the summer next year. But if George gets into the game this fall, like, they go to Joey first and Joey struggles after the Georgia game, and then they give equal reps or something to Jake and George and see it out, and then George shows something. I mean, that was the Peyton Manning year, right? His freshman year is like, he was thrown into the fire when he was not ready. And he showed stuff, and it was like, oh, this is Peyton's job, and Peyton's going to be our quarterback for the next 3 years. That could be a George situation, and then that drastically changes that quarterback room. I
think it's a good problem to have.
Yes.
If that's how it ends up, and when it comes to McClure, I mean, to me, I'd be worried about him not being here, even if Joey Aguilar is the guy. You know what I mean? I mean, which I know they got a new deal structured with Merck and all that, but, like, I just don't think he's your long-term answer in any way. I mean, personally, just looking at the young talent you got coming in, maybe Merck will end up playing at some point this year. Maybe we see him on the field, but I don't think he's going to be anybody to worry about in the long term for Tennessee football. That's just my opinion. I think George is the guy I want him to roll with. I think he's got a lot of raw talent. And if he is good enough, that remains to be seen. But could be a good problem to have if it ends up being him against Faison over the next couple of seasons, and you've got a real battle to see who the best quarterback is. I assume the cream will rise to the top on that, and it'll all get taken care
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.